So Going Medieval's last Medieval Monday talk was September 10, and during the time of this recording, it's been more than 2 weeks already. So I don't know what's going on, but I won't be able to continue with my Going Medieval 100 Days series for now, because I'm waiting for that Castle Doors and Gates update. So for today, I'll be going Medieval Dynasty. I'll be playing Medieval Dynasty. Get it? Get it? Going Medieval Dynasty? Yeah, you got it. Okay. I must admit that I've only tried playing this game once and went in blind. So, I'll spare you guys the pain and won't show that. Instead, I went on to do some research, and well, I'm not even entirely sure if everything I research about is up to date. So, if you know this game by heart, please do comment any tip that will help me in my playthrough down below. It will be much appreciated. As we set out on our journey, my first task was to talk to the Castellan. As soon as we reached the town, we spoke to the Castellan. He seemed to recognize us because of our eyes. One blue as the sky and the other black like a lump of coal. I won't spoil any of the story, cause then I should have just went on doing our live stream. But rather, I just want to share my experience in playing this game for the first time. After my quick dialogue with the Castellan, I was then tasked to gather some sticks and stones. Fortunately, there were a bunch just outside of town, so I didn't have to go far. After which, I then had to make a stone axe. Next, I had to chop down some trees, gather straw, and make a wooden hammer. But I only chopped down one tree and gathered many straw. 200 straws to be exact. Because I will be making my way past the rocky hills and into this valley with a lake in the middle. This is where I will find my settlement. And so I'll see you guys when I'm there. Okay, I'm almost there. A herd of deer over there? Okay. Oh no, avoid that early on. And that change of music only tells me that I'm about to witness two things. Either I escape and have my whole life to look forward to, or for the past few minutes of my life flash before my eyes. Luckily, it was the latter, as I managed to avoid the whole thing. And as I was running for my life, I managed to stumble upon an abandoned camping site. And so I looted the whole place. It was abandoned after all. And finally, I made it to the other end of the lake, opposite of where the wolves were. And here is where I'll be settling. I then finished the remaining trees to be chopped down. And now I build my first house. There was a slight problem to this as the land was filled with trees, and so I had to cut most of them down. I did eventually find a place for my house, and so I plopped down the floor plan, brought out my hammer, and began the construction. One of the tips I came across was to change the materials from wooden sticks into stones for the walls and the roof of the house, and so I did just that to improve the technology faster. The house building did require a heck ton of stones and logs, which just took quite some time gathering. But in the end, I managed to complete my house on the first day. And I know you don't necessarily have to sleep in this game, but for me, it's an easier time for me to track what day it is. And the following morning, I then decided to place a gravel path along the front of my house, just to have a general idea what it would look like. Then I planned to make a resource storage. Again, with how the land was still filled with trees, I encountered the same problem with my house. And so I went on to cutting the trees within the vicinity of the build. And soon enough, I managed to find a good spot and plop down the blueprint. And then I immediately began with the construction. So far, my main takeaway from this game is, early on, because I am just by myself and nothing is automated yet, the game is very resource heavy, especially that we have a carry weight to work around with. I know you can turn this feature off in the settings, but that's not my thing. I don't mind being challenged a bit. If anything, what I'd change for my next playthrough is the instant build and instant craft mechanic. And I say next playthrough because, well, I'm not really happy about the outcome of this playthrough. I did a lot of things wrong and I paced myself too quickly with the main story and side quests. Plus, I want to make the days longer per season. I know I can change that right now, but it just wouldn't be as consistent as I would have liked. Once the construction was completed, I then put all the resource materials I didn't need inside the storage. I then went out to hunt for rabbits. Now I don't know if the rabbit trap has to be built where the rabbits spawn, or I could build it anywhere. But for roleplay's sake, I built it right over here. I also gathered more wood and turned them into spears because I will have to hunt as stated in the mission list on the side. Now I can't aim for shit, so please bear with me, I'll eventually get the hang of it, I promise. Also, I'll spare you guys my pain and agony of hunting, so I'll just skip through to the part when I hit the doe. Okay, I know I hit it, and apparently I can't follow blood trails for shit either. I swear, if this game solely relied on hunting for food with a wooden spear, this video would not have existed. Damn, I need to work on my endurance. Oh, see? I did kill something. But where? Now, I don't know if I'm hitting the same doe as to earlier, but here goes another shot. Well, I think I've made it clear that I am not so great with hunting and tracking. So I'll go on ahead and just sleep the night off. On the morning of day 3, I went to check my rabbit trap and found a dead rabbit inside. I then made a woodshed next. This would be the very first building I would automate as soon as I get some settlers to stay in our settlement. And again, as soon as I plopped down the blueprint, I began the construction. This would be generating my settlement, the much needed logs, sticks, and planks I'll need for the constructions that I would be doing. Not only that, but also the firewood my people will eventually need during winters. I then made another house right beside the woodshed for my future settlers to stay in, so that they wouldn't be too far away from their workplace. I've also made the walls, windows, and door here out of stone just like my house. Not just for sturdiness purposes, but mainly for my tech purposes really. Whoa, hold on a second. Is that what I think it is? It can't be. Alright, let me just finish some of the walls, then I'll go have a look. Well, look what we have here. It's my game! Oh, and over there, another one! Okay, maybe hunting at night isn't just my thing. That or my eyesight is pretty bad, which is very concerning, I might add. Okay, now time to finish the build. Once that was done, I then made the washtub so we can avoid being too dirty when we finally talk and try to convince people to stay at our settlement. And I called it a day after having to fill it up with water. Day 4 and summer starts. I regret now what I did here. I should have started with my farming first. In fact, I should have started farming in the first season. But what can we do? What's done has been done, and started to make a workshop. Again, I don't know why, maybe because I wanted to automate the water for my settlers. But soon I realized that I can still manually do that because I'm just taking care of one extra household. I never got to start with the constructions however. Instead, I went back to Gustovia to do some missions. Yet again, another regret. My personal advice, given that I've just scratched the surface of Medieval Dynasty, There is no rush in completing the main questline. I believe you are given a very long time to accomplish this. Anyways, as I was just about to arrive at Gustovia, I came across this chest containing 265 coins and a potion of strength. Well, they're mine now. Once I got into town, I spoke with Dobroniega to continue on with the questline. After my conversation with her, I went back to Unigos with 2 oat ales and for more stories of my uncle. And after that conversation with the Castellan, I then turned to helping some of my neighbors with their quests, because that's what the game's telling me to do, which again, you can do on your own time. I just decided to do them right away. So I spoke with this old man asking me to get him a new axe, Alwyn for his story quest, and Yarogniewa to continue on Dobrogniega's story. Man, these names are crazy. After I've done all that I can for the side missions and main storylines, I then went to see if I can recruit anyone. No one else was there other than Egbert, and he's a fisherman with decent stats and 4 other skills. And after giving it much thought, I asked him to be the first settler to join my settlement. And right off the management tab, I gave him a home and a job to do. And while I'm here, I may as well restock on my straws, which I later realized that there's a bunch of straw growing at the lake where I'm at. I then went back to my little farm and checked my rabbit trap. I also left some food and water for Egbert inside his chest in his house. I then began working on the workshop. And as soon as I finished the workshop, I learned the bucket schematic. Again, I was too excited to automate water for my one and only settler. I know, big mistake, moving on. I got some water, cooked some food, and called it a day. In the morning of day 5, I just did some micro work in the village. I adjusted the work intensity of the woodshed and crafted axes to be used for the woodshed. Then it was back to Gustovia I go. As soon as I arrived, I spoke to the Castellan for more stories and see what mission he has for me. Well, this mission requires me to go all the way to the other side of the map to talk to this Sambar fellow. So that's where I'll go. And while it's on the way, I'll do a side mission here at Barowo, because why not? And soon after I resolved that, it was back to Sambar I go. On the way to Sambar's place, well, to be fair, I have been careful for the most part of this playthrough, but not careful enough as 2 wolves managed to sneak behind me. I tried to fight them off, but they were just too fast for me. This time around, I went through the forest, making sure I don't pass by the wolves again. I went straight towards the foxes until I reached a path going straight to Sambor. And at a distance, there it was. I can see Sambar's lodge. Now to see what awaits me there. Well, like I said, I won't spoil much of the story here, so I'll skip through it. Sambar then tasked me to dig up and gather clay for him. And so I did. I came back and gave him the 5 units of clay he asked for. And with this, I got to unlock more stories of my uncle from him. And after that conversation, it was back to Gustovia I go. Now instead of going through the path I took on the way here, I went and took the other path that led back to Gustovia. I also made sure that I didn't make any contact with those damn wolves again. On the way back, I stumbled upon yet again another abandoned camp. And inside one of the barrels there was an iron crossbow and 4 iron bolts. Now I was torn. Should I keep it or should I sell it? Let me know down in the comments below. But honestly, I'm leaning towards selling, especially if I can get more value out of the crossbow. And as soon as I got to Gustovia, I spoke with the Castellan and finished that part of the quest. But he had another quest for me to do, and it required me getting his scythe from Ida in Borowo. So I'll go ahead and do that in the morning, but I'm calling this adventure a day for now, so I gathered some sticks and placed a simple campfire down and slept until the next day. In the morning of day 6, I went to Borowo and straight to Ida to get Unighost's scythe back. It seems that Ida got the scythe through a game, and only through riddles can I get the scythe back. Luckily for me, her riddles were fairly basic and nothing I haven't heard before. So I just breezed through her questions. And in case you're wondering, silence, fire, cloud are the answers to her riddle. While I was in the area, I also spoke to Falibor, finishing his quest. And I also got to recruit another person to my settlement. I returned to Gustovia and gave Unigost his scythe back. And in return, he gave me a letter from Sambor wanting to see me. And to that, I say I shall do next time, because my people need me back in my camp. In the Managements tab, I've given Rodolfina a house, the same as Egbert's. I've also made her work in the woodshed now, since she has a higher skill rating there, and moved Egbert to working at the workshop to produce some buckets for water. Once I got back to my camp, I made some quick inventory management and placed all items I got from my journey inside my personal chest. I also decided to make some renovations to my house. Since I'm producing wooden planks now, I can make my roof tier 3. Unfortunately, I didn't expect that much planks were needed per roof, and so I had to adjust the production at the woodshed. I then placed a well behind the resource storage. I know, what's with the well when I'm beside the body of water? I know, okay, I know. Moving on. With some planks in the resource storage, I managed to finish one more roof in my house. I checked my rabbit trap one last time as I went through all of its durability. By the way, let me know in the comments below if I can just set the trap up anywhere. Would it guarantee me a rabbit per day? Let me know. And before the day ended, I plopped down the hunting lodge blueprint. I built the foundation and supports before calling it a day. Day 7 marks the first day of autumn, and the first task at hand was to finish the hunting lodge.
Have you ever wondered what a world without kings would look like?
Once that was done, I gave drying meat a test. I really thought my character was going to hang and dry the meat, but oh well. I then plotted down an orchard farm. I know. I should have done farming first. Don't worry, I'll do better next time. I then decided to do Dobroniega's quest and talk to Nadar at Rolnica. And in the process, I visited the next town, Denica. I did nothing much at the next town other than to scout the possible people I can recruit for my camp. And boy do I see someone I want to recruit. But soon, I am now off to go to Rolnica. Once I got into the town, I went straight to find and talk to Nadar about the delivery. Unfortunately, he says that his courier should be on the way, and something must have happened that caused the delay. So then he asked me to look for his courier and I accepted. So I'm supposed to look for his courier in this area? Well, alright then, no time to waste. This must be the cart of the courier. Looks like he did get into an accident, but I still have to go to where his last location was. Now I'll save you the details because I couldn't find him easily, but alas, later that afternoon, I found him sitting by the waterfall. He appeared to be wounded, and so I gave him some broadleaf plantain to help with the pain. On my way back to Nadar, I got ambushed by a boar, and so I made his death quick. Sure is easier to kill these aggressive animals rather than those damn deers. And just when I was nearing Rolnica, I got ambushed by a wolf again. Fortunately for us, we survived its attack. I informed Nadar about his courier situation and that I gave him some plantain to ease the pain, to which Nadar thanked me for helping Hugo. Oh, and by the way, y'all got a wolf problem at your gates. Y'all might want to do something about it, because I sure won't. And just right outside Rolnica, before entering the Woods of Surprises, I made myself a campfire and slept off the remainder of the day. On my way back to deliver Dobroniega's crate of rye, I first hunted 2 more boars for the quest. And since I got a ton of meat out of them, I passed by my camp first to dry some meat, and gave some of the dried meat to my settlers, and some water as well. I also made myself a simple bag and a wooden hoe in preparation for farming later on. I then went on my way to go to Gustovia to talk to Dobroniega. I then passed by Borowo to accept a side quest from Lotomir, which required me to pick up some parasol and woolly milkcap mushrooms. I'm sure I'll pick some on the way to Sambor. I eventually made it to Sambor's lodge safely and spoke to him. He's been irritable lately because of an owl. Says that the hooting of the owl has kept him awake at night. To which he then asked me to hunt it down. And so I did. Well, it surely has to be nearby. I jumped his fence and began the hunt. I crouched down and began listening for the owl. As soon as I heard the first hoot, I followed it silently. It got louder and louder, telling me that I'm getting near it. To my surprise, I didn't find an owl, but a human being impersonating an owl. So I confronted the guy. Well, long story short, apparently he's been hired to annoy Sambor by a guy named Walrad of Tutki. I told Sambor what I just learned, and it turns out that this Walrad fellow was a longtime friend by my uncle, Unighost, and Sambor. And so he wanted to prank Walrad back, but told me to come back tomorrow to pick up the special package. And, well, there's really nothing else much to do for today, and it's too far away to go back home and come back the following day. So, I decided to make another camp right here in front of Sambor's lodge. In the following morning, I got the parcel from Sambor and went on my way to travel to Tutki. I also got to pass by the towns of Baranica and Branica. I didn't do much there again, other than to scout for more people to join my settlement. I also found a cave here perfect for mining. I'll have to remember this location and come back once I can start building mines. I finally made it to Tutki and looked for Walrad. I gave him the parcel, but he didn't take it. As it turns out, Sambor's feces was the mysterious parcel. Ah shit. Literally. Aside from that, Walrad had more stories about my uncle, but would only tell me if I helped him with his request of 1,000 wood. 1,000 wood. He's got to be kidding, right? I can't even carry 10 wood right now. I've got to go confront him about this. Okay, so he was joking. But the real favor was for me to slaughter their cow because it had stopped giving milk. I mean, I'm very easy to talk to, so with one swing of an axe, the deed was done. I'll just go ahead and skin this. Perk of the job. And so, I reported back to Walrad and heard more stories about my uncle. But that's not why I'm here. So after the long conversation, it was time for me to head back home. It was late at night, but I did manage to get home safe and sound. So with nothing else to do, I went straight to my house and slept. Day 10 and 0? What's this? An event? A strong wind flew by the village and damaged some of the buildings. Well, good thing our houses are made of rocks, except that some of the roofs were still made out of straw. But that's alright, nothing we can't fix. As soon as I got up, I hurriedly restored any broken roofs and walls. I also began working on my settlement's kitchen. Again, probably the worst top 10 builds without setting up a proper farm first. I know, but I still did it anyways. Moving on. I also wasn't able to properly prepare for winter. Like literally what I wore since spring are still the same set of clothes I'm wearing for winter. Hence, you can see why my health bar on the lower left side of the screen trickled down in time. This is when I realized that I should have focused on farming first because I don't have any ingredient whatsoever for cooking. I then went towards the flat land in front of my village and plotted down farming fields. 3 4x4 fields is what I decided to go with. And now that I actually had some research to it, I'm planning for something better. But I'll do that in my next playthrough. Unfortunately, that's all I did in my first day of winter. Seeing that every time I was out, I was freezing to death, I don't think I'll do anything productive in the remaining hours of the first day, let alone the next 2 days of winter. For now, I obviously need more research about the game to make a proper 100 days video on it. I may or may not actually do better in the next playthrough, but at least I'm not starting from scratch. I'm starting with experience. So, if you want to see me not suck at this game, or who knows, maybe you do enjoy seeing me suck at this game, then please do consider subscribing to the channel and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss out on that feature mini-series. Thank you to all those who have reached up until this point of the video. You guys are amazing and I wouldn't be here in this situation without you guys. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I'm Aimatiro and I'll see you guys on the next video.